the top somehow.
Well, my Straight Talk family, I was feeling so bad coming out of last week, so I made it my business that I will start right on time, but I didn't want to catch you off guard, so I, in fact, did not start before time. But it is time, nonetheless, to extend greetings to my Straight Talk massive, my Straight Talk family, wherever you are in the world, and to extend a very pleasant night to my Straight Talk family in St. Kitts, Nevis, and throughout the entire Caribbean region. Like I said, wherever you are in the world, I know we are on the World Wide Web, so I'm at liberty to say good night. I will say good morning, and of course I will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And I want to, as per usual, extend my gratitude for all those who continue to share the link, because when you do so, we do get first timers, and I am duty bound to inform our first timers that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express yourselves freely. And my Straight Talk family, for the first timers one more time, and I trust and hope it won't be your last time, I also wish to inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails, and if you're so minded, calling, the numbers are listed there on your monitors, on your screens, and they are 663, that's a local number, 6672, and our overseas number 646-829-6672. Does not prevent you from calling overseas, calling the local line, except you just have to include the area code, which is 869. But there's some of you who like what I call it the cloak of anonymity, and we give you access via our email platform, because we know that things are so difficult And people get scared because we have an administration that don't seem to care about our fundamental rights and freedoms, which are enshrined in our Constitution. And one of such rights I will never give up is that my right to express myself freely. So my Straight Talk family, that email address is also on your screen, Straight Talk Patches, that's one word, at gmail.com. I always as well must assure you that on this program we do not promote sensationalism or create excitement at the expense of accuracy, because it is my duty to present what I call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance and transparency in our beloved country. And my Straight Talk family, I do want to, as we try to raise the level of national consciousness, the level of national discourse, we alert you, our people, of your rights, your responsibilities, and obligations. And just to let you know, yes, my name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you on yet another occasion. And a pleasure as well to remain your untiring advocate of truthfulness. And yes, I reminded of that hymn, the excerpts from that hymn. It goes something like this: we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, and bringing evil things to light. So let us seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we may all know, or we all may know, the blessing of the doing of God's will. So yes, my Straight Talk family, we do not water down anything on this program to make it more interesting, neither by omission or by exaggeration. But the program joins us together with people all across the Federation. We are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world, in the Kittitian and Nevision diaspora. And how could I forget to hail my Kittitians and Nevisians in particular, and my Caribbean people in Asia. We are in Europe. Yes, we are also in Africa. And a whole lot of us are all over North America. Some we have met, some we may never ever meet, and some we know very well as well, my Straight Talk family. And some will agree with the positions of truth we advance on this program, and some will disagree, and that's okay, because we promote diversity. And I always hasten to add that it will sadden me, my Straight Talk family, is if we ever start to become disagreeable. So let us thank Almighty God nonetheless for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for the day when we will all sing his praise together. Welcome once again, my people, and thanks for those who continue to share the link. I always must call and hail my junior brigade, Straight Talk Junior Brigade, yes. But of those young ones, some don't want me to call their names, but some do, like young Tristan, Shama, Wayne, Kevin, Rue, Travis and Trevon. And yes, I always hail my special lady there in St. Louis. And on that sad note, my Straight Talk family, recall we announced last week on our last program that there was a search party planned for the Buffalo soldier, Cons Edwards. And soon thereafter, we heard that he was found. Sadly, he was found dead by Street Talk family. Some questions need to be asked, though at the appropriate time, nonetheless. But Cons Lord Black Edwards has gone to the great beyond my Street Talk family. There's some others who have lost loved ones. We want to extend condolences as well to the families. And we always remind you that death is a process. I know we can say anything, but I also know that Jimmy Cliff once sang, "Who feels it knows it." So we don't feel your pain, but we empathize with you nonetheless. We always have our thesis, a short dissertation for every program. And the title of my thesis tonight is "Where is the CBI money, Dr. July?" So don't you move from that platform. Don't change that link. It's going to be interesting. And our observations in review is an integral part of Straight Talk as well, after which we'll move into our thesis. And for tonight, we want to first remind you to get prepared, my Straight Talk family, for Tropical Storm Ernesto. I know all of the government offices in St. Kitts and Nevis likewise will be closed. For a moment, I sometimes wonder when you hear an announcement on a Sunday for Tuesday closure for a storm that can go any place. It leaves me in a state of ambivalence, but I could understand my Straight Talk family. Better to be safe than to be sorry. So the offices of government or government offices will be closed tomorrow in anticipation of the passage of Tropical Storm Ernesto. I also want to, as another observation, speak to or make reference, I should say, to the retrenchment of staff at the Citizenship by Investment Unit. And what has happened over there, my Straight Talk family, gives us great cause for concern. I mean, when you would have had a meeting called at late notice, and with staff intimidated by the presence of the Attorney General, the HR or Chief Personnel Officer, and the Chief Secretary. And then you see a list coming out with those who were expected to report to work today. And one would think that a government that speaks so much about transparency and good governance, and one would think at least the process would be in keeping with transparency and good governance principles. But that's not the government we have in this country at this time. Everything seems to go the opposite. But that too we will expand upon on our next episode at my Straight Talk family. And we'll also address other issues, which include our 24th murder, which happened at Craddock Road over there in Nevis some nights ago. And that, my Straight Talk family, sadly has taken us for the last 2 years to some 63 murders under our Prime Minister and Prime Minister Terence Michael July. That too we will expand upon my Straight Talk family. I saw the National Security Advisor yesterday, but we don't necessarily talk about that anymore. But my Straight Talk family, I We are all worried about the state of crime that seems to be continually getting worse and worse in the country. We heard of the retirement or removal of the commander of the Defense Force, and we heard of the plan, the undermining of the commissioner of the police force, and many within the force are lobbying to get James Sutton out. But those issues, again, we will address on a subsequent program, because my Straight Talk family, you know that I like to my Straight Talk family ensure that I bring you all the facts. And I want to make mention of public servants generally. And this public servant who I saw yesterday, we did not have a pleasant meeting. And that public servant is the Director of Public Works, George Gilbert. And I told him I will speak about it tonight, because George Gilbert, Director of Public Works, threatened me that he'll put his lawyer on me, to use his words. And I would like to remind him and to tell him publicly that the only defense against defamation is the truth. And I like to speak the truth. I always speak the truth. And sometime I met George Gilbert, and I tried to say to George that when the Prime Minister keeps peddling this nonsense about $21 million spent on the Bastia High School for dirt, and I tried to explain to him that the Prime Minister is only tarnishing the character of the engineers at Public Works, because he knows very well, and I know, and everyone in Public Works and in the engineering department must know as well, that before any payment is disbursed from the government treasury, the Public Works Department, which is the technical arm of the government, must sign, and it is the chief engineer who ought to sign approval of such disbursements as per the schedule of any works that is ongoing or any works that were done. And why he would take offense to that, I don't know. If he didn't sign it, then the director had to sign it. And I was saying that George Gilbert, as the then chief engineer in Public Works, had to be or ought to be the one who would have signed those invoices. Because no contractor would go into the treasury with a bill and get a check. They have to be approved by the Public Works Department. So I don't know why the director was getting so upset. Because, I mean, I can tonight play a soundbite from his former engineer colleague, Ninky Williams, who have said so many things about him, and he never responded, and Ninky said them publicly. So I want the Director of Public Works, George Gilbert, to understand on this program, it is an educational process, I should say, for everyone. I was trying to say to the Straight Talk family how it works. And I will say again, when the Prime Minister, July, would make nonsense propositions about $21 million spent on a Bastia High School project and spent on dirt, somebody has to stand up and say, Prime Minister, stop talking your nonsense. So, George, if you're friends no more, fine. But I have no enemies. And those are my observations in review for tonight, my Street Dog family. As I move into my thesis, which I have titled, Where is the CBI Money, Dr. July? And for the past 24 months, the country has been embroiled in a debate about our citizenship by investment program, which I'll call hereafter the CBI program, which has existed for 40 long years, since 1984. Incredibly, however, early in his term, Prime Minister July, by his silly utterances, made it absolutely clear that he knew nothing about simple accounting facts. Worse yet, about the fiscal management of the government that he now has to lead. And my Straight Talk family, Dr. July obviously never understood as well something called foreign direct investment and its importance to the development of our economy and the country. He never took time, obviously, to understand how the country generates hundreds of millions of non-tax revenues from the foreign direct investment, the FDI, facilitated through the CBI. And he never took time to understand how the CBI works, and confess, my Straight Dog family, that it was a challenge to him, my Straight Dog family, and that's the CBI.
Because the rough patch is going to come because of the CBI program. The CBI program has taken a hit. I will in the next 2 weeks or so, but in short order, 2 weeks to a month, have a statement on the CBI program. Now that we are completing its audit and why it's facing some challenges and why. That is.
And he made a statement, quite frankly, in fairness to him, but a convoluted one, my Straight Dog family. But ask yourselves the question, how could the CBI be a challenge to Dr. July when he sits in a cabinet with the author, beg your pardon, of the revision, I call it, of CBI and the introduction of the SIDF? It's from that time the country started to make a lot of money. All July had to do was to humble himself and ask Denzel Douglas to explain the CBI for him, and I'm sure Douglas would have told him this, my Straight Dog family.
I remember well what it was like when, as Prime Minister, I recognized that we would have to chart a stable and sustainable path forward once it became clear that the sugar agricultural economy and country could no longer be the mainstay of St. Kitts and Nevis. Those were quite tumultuous times globally. But I was determined to put in place the policies and the guardrails to ensure that, firstly, we established new avenues of economic activity and growth, whilst ensuring, secondly, that there was zero social upheaval, zero political instability, and zero domestic tumult. In fact, it is because of those concerns that we created what has now become famous as the Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation, the SIDF.
And my straight dog family, if he had just humbled himself and have a chat with the senior minister and former and second prime minister, I should say, he would have been informed. Dr. July could have also ate humble pie, as we say in colloquial parlance, and asked our third prime minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, why and how he introduced several CBI options, including the alternative investment option, which is now subject to a RICO lawsuit in Florida and a judicial review in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Every dollar spent has been accounted for because we took the decision that all CBI monies have to go in the treasury.
Sorry for that little glitch, my street dog family. But like I said, he could have ate humble pie, reach across the aisle to Timothy Harris and get a crash course on how the CBI works. But these two lawsuits I referred to, my street dog family, the RICO lawsuit in Florida and the judicial review in Basseterre, have been brought by a convicted French felon, Philippe Martinez, in an obvious attempt to blackmail Caribbean Galaxy. And I hold no brief for Caribbean Galaxy, but if I had to make a choice between Caribbean Galaxy and MSR Media St. Kitts Nevis Limited, I would run far from the latter. Yes, I would run far from MSR Media St. Kitts Nevis Limited, whose owner, Philippe Martinez, is a convicted scamp, as we say in local parlance. And I am not surprised, my straight dog family, that GADA supports him and advises Martinez because GADA is accustomed to be dealing with scamps. Remember I told you before about Alan Stanford, my straight dog family. Remember I told you before who GADA invited to St. Kitts and Nevis sometime in the early 2000s, my straight dog family. And his then Prime Minister had this to say.
Have just joined us for the first time. We are actually dealing with this particular issue.
Who brought Stanford? Who brought Alan Stanford to St. Kitts to buy government land at the airport? Of course it was Dwyer Astafan. It was Dwyer Astafan himself who went to Antigua to negotiate in Antigua with Stanford about the price of the land at the airport. It was Dwyer Astafan himself who called me from Antigua and wanted me to agree on the telephone as to what the price of the land must be that Stanford was offering to pay.
And my straight dog family, GADA negotiated, believe it or not, land at the airport at what we can call a peppercorn rate, my straight dog family. GADA, approved by his cabinet, no doubt, having put his cabinet in a compromising situation, had to agree with this price for land.
People, please open the eyes of your understanding and see what Dr. Douglas is doing. He sold Sanford land for 68 cents per square foot, less than 25 cents, 25 plus, 24 plus, and I brought it down to the nearest cent, 25 US cents per square foot.
And my straight dog family, Alan Stanford right now is spending his life in a federal jail. So that's the kind of people who Gada is comfortable dealing with, criminals. That is why he is so cozy with Philippe Martinez, that French convict. Remember as well the bar-side agreement made with Alan Stanford by then Minister C.J. Liburd. Well, he's really a Martin. But let us not forget this, my Straight Dog family.
But when we went to Antigua to meet with Alan Stanford, it was a matter where they were discussing the agreement and the lands. I was making sure that the portion which referred to in what you call a bar side agreement.
And that's how that government operated, my Straight Dog family. So please do not listen to Gada, who is an advisor to the fraudster, Philippe Martinez. And please do not listen to the French fraudster and scamp, Philippe Martinez, who is broke, has no money, because he cannot even pay his staff, my Straight Dog family. He cannot even pay his staff. And his staff has executed a lawsuit in the Eastern Caribbean Court in St. Kitts and Nevis. Don Lockman, who he owes, he is claiming some $295,000, hasn't paid his salaries, my Straight Dog family. To date, he has not paid the salaries of his staff. That's the Philippe Martinez that we are dealing with, my Straight Dog family. Because this French camp arranged as well. This French camp arranged to buy the OTI hotel, but has no money to operate that hotel. So this 75-room hotel is closed. Now closed, my Straight Dog family. And this is the convicted felon that we are holding up on a high pedestal, my Straight Dog family. High pedestal. But compare his performance, my Straight Dog family, with the performance of Caribbean Galaxy. Caribbean Galaxy opened phase 1 of the 300-room hotel that is being operated under the Ramada brand name, right along the western corridor of St. Kitts and Nevis, my Straight Dog family. If you drive along, going down on the western corridor on the rural west, you will find the Ramada Hotel open to visitors and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And during the peak season, we are told that the Ramada Hotel employs over 150 workers on a full-time basis. And oh, my Straight Dog family, if you ever go to the Ramada Hotel, take a trip down to the rural west, down to the western side of St. Kitts. And oh, what a scenic view of the neighboring islands when they get there at the Ramada Hotel, my Straight Dog family. And meanwhile, phase 2 for 200 rooms is under construction, we are told. So one would expect that if Prime Minister July led a progressive government, he would therefore ensure that the Minister of Tourism, Marshall Henderson, would be out there trying to get more flights into St. Kitts to accommodate this further expansion by Caribbean Galaxy. But let us move to what can be considered the most controversial issue of the moment, which is the correctional facility, frequently referred to as the prison project. I have heard no one saying, however, that there is not a need to replace that facility in Bastille, which was built over a century ago, built in 1840, to accommodate, believe it or not, 60 prisoners, and at one stage house 320 inmates, including those remanded pre-trial and confined to a cell with convicted prisoners. Some slept on bunk beds, while others slept on blankets on the floor. Yes, they had to sleep on cold ground. What if I tell you that the second Prime Minister, Denzil Douglas, included the construction of a prison in his budget address for almost 10 years? Denzil Douglas begged every friendly government for grant funding, which is not the norm for such projects. What if I tell you, my Straight Talk family, that 20 years ago, in 2004, that was a manifesto pledge by the People's Action Movement while in opposition, my Straight Talk family? How many of us remember this? 2004, my Straight Dog family. A promise and a pledge by the then leader of PAM, Lindsey Grant, to build a new prison facility. I'm sure we don't ever, or maybe have seen this for the first time. But increasingly though, my Straight Dog family, or rather interestingly though I should say, neither of them, neither Denzil Douglas or Lindsey Grant, revealed the cost or the source of funds for a new prison. But come 2021 though, innovation, creativity, through the CBI program, the third Prime Minister Harris gets a correctional facility at no cost to us, the taxpayers, not 1 cent. So let us examine the project closely, my Straight Dog family. One, it must be noted that the alternative investment option legislation was originally approved by Cabinet in May of 2021. This project was approved, or the option rather, and legislation was approved in 2021. And the project was later approved by the Cabinet, my Straight Dog family.
The prison is being built in terms of financing is similar to what we did with the Park Hyatt. A developer comes in, presents a project, and they are allocated X number of shares, which represent citizenships, which they can make available to the investors. The only difference is that with this particular project, when it is completed, it will be turned over to the government to manage and to operate as a prison, which means that the government did not have to find the money to build the prison. The member, myself and the other PAM ministers were part of the approval process for that project while we were in government. It is a private project. It is being done by a private company, as with the Park Hyatt, and so there is no need, it doesn't go through any government process in terms of having to put out tenders for different contracts and all of that.
So PAM, my Straight Dog family, in opposition, promised a prison project. Douglas in government promised a prison project as well. And none of them delivered the prison project because they had no money. They couldn't find the money. But our third Prime Minister, Timothy Harris, through the CBI, thought both of them, how to raise funds for a project under the alternative investment option, my straight dog family, at no cost to government, except government or the state would provide the land. So no matter what you heard Pam said, or some members of Pam said, and some members of the CCM, the stake, for example, cabinet is what I call, or what is called, a collective. By that I mean, cabinet has a collective responsibility, also known as collective ministerial responsibility. That is a constitutional convention in parliamentary systems and a cornerstone of the Westminster system of government, in that members of the cabinet must publicly support all governmental decisions made in cabinet, even if they do not privately agree with them. So don't be fooled by some of them, my straight dog family. No cabinet minutes would read Snake Mark Brantley or Sean Richards did not support the project, for example. The minutes will read, the cabinet met on this particular date in 2021 and approved the correctional facility. And yes, there are times in cabinet that I myself did not necessarily agree with what was happening. But anyone who would have served with me would tell you, I would stay quiet when asked. I would say I'm a strong proponent of collectivity, my straight dog family. 2, under the AIO, the alternative investment option, government was therefore able to fund infrastructure projects that would not normally be funded by the government's budget. The object was, and still is, to get a private developer to fund an initiative with them using their own funds up front. So for the correctional facility, Caribbean Galaxy had to use their own funds up front, their own money, and then recover the investment through the sale of citizenship through the program. And hear this, my straight dog family. No matter what name they give it, no matter how they change it, my straight dog family, it's still the same project, no matter what name they change for it.
The public benefit option replaces the alternative investment option, or AIO. Under the public benefit option, an approved public benefactor who has submitted an investment proposal to the Board of Governors can become a part of the Citizenship by Investment program by offering public benefit units that would be available as options to individual applicants for citizenship by investment.
And you know, my straight dog family, the Board of Governors, have you heard who are on this Board of Governors? Who comprise that board? Back in the past, we had a technical committee headed by the Financial Secretary, Mrs. Hilary Hazel. But the alternative investment option, the AIO program, was intended to provide the country with 2 benefits, my straight dog family. The completion of an asset that belonged to the country, 1, and 2, government fees which went straight to the consolidated fund, my straight dog family. Note that the prison project, like I said before, was in the budget address or speeches of former Prime Minister Douglas for almost 10 years. But he was never able to fund it. So the AIO allowed this flexibility to the third Prime Minister, Timothy Harris, and his team Unity administration some what I call creativity. Now, this administration is also continuing it in their new regulations because there's still a need for international sales and local agents. The market, I can tell you from my own research, is a complex environment and with competing interests and competition. All programs are competing to sell their product because it delivers government fees, and in the case like the AIO, an infrastructure project. The only other program delivering on infrastructure projects is Dominica, I am told. All others, the developers are trying to build hotels within some cases there is a definite lack of capital. Look here around St. Kitts at what we can call the concrete jungles. Look, when you pass the first roundabout going into Frigate Bay, look to the right on the hill. Unfinished project. My Sweet Dog family, clients don't want to live in St. Kitts Nevis. They want citizenship mainly for travel. It is very rare that you would hear someone wanting to live in a country where they obtain citizenship. And there are cases, yes, of business people having businesses in the region for a number of years and are now using the program to obtain citizenship. To access these clients, nonetheless, you need a middleman. You need an agent who has the relationships and who can speak the language. Agents, for example, in China or the Middle East are the sole conduit to sales. You can only get sales or access sales through them. As a result, they require commissions. And this is very competitive, we are told. My research has also informed me that the number of applications received by the CIU has plummeted considerably in the absence of Caribbean Galaxy. Galaxy is in a unique position as a result of two factors, I am told. Caribbean Galaxy has a network of agents in China and the Middle East. So they have the ability to fund the project without any loans or the sale of units. As a result, construction at the correctional facility, at the prison project, began and continue and will continue to completion. The alternative investment project timeline and government approval, my Sweet Dog family, is important to note that this AI project, the prison project, received approval in December 2021. And the primary phase for sales were completed by the end of 2022. According, therefore, to the law, Galaxy's obligations, hear this, according to the law, Caribbean Galaxy's obligations under the Alternative Investment Option Project include delivering the prison project and paying government fees, which are estimated to fall in the region of over 500 million Eastern Caribbean dollars, or $500 million EC dollars. So like I said before, I hold no brief for Caribbean Galaxy, but Caribbean Galaxy is a good corporate citizen, if not the best corporate citizen. And I say so because Caribbean Galaxy's investment in public goods is a positive step. From the onset, Caribbean Galaxy has shown a long-term commitment to to the community of rural West, St. Paul's, Newton Ground, Dieppe, and beyond, and demonstrated sustainable practices rather than just short-term or one-off investments. I told you before, they completed phase 1. 300 rooms. They opened the doors in 2020 under the Ramada brand. But examine Philippe Martinez, my straight dog family, and MSR Media St. Kitts Nevis Limited. Also examine the commitments it made. In accordance, my straight dog family, with SRO, Standing Rules and Order, number 33 of 2022, passed in December 2022. Look, my straight dog family, at section 32. It's up on your monitors, on your screens. Section 32, subsection 2, my straight dog family. It reads, and it is clear: an approved public good investor must, underline must, that is synonymous to shall, by his or its investment, A, bring substantial benefit to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. It says St. Christopher and Nevis, but we know St. Kitts and Nevis. B, maximize local employment. And I'll stop right there, my straight dog family. Because Philippe Martinez promised to employ 150 workers. Where are these workers, my straight dog family? The hotel, like I said, is closed. There's a gate, there's a lock on the gate, a chain and a lock on the gate. So who is working there? The electricity is cut off. Grass is running wild on the property, my straight dog family. And I dare say, I want to say here and now, that the only benefit that Philippe Martinez has delivered to us as a country is to sue the Prime Minister July. He filed a lawsuit against Prime Minister Dr. July. And that is the only benefit he has delivered to date. So we ask the question, is Dr. July blind? Is he blind, my straight dog family? That's a pertinent question, my straight dog family. It is. Because well-known supporter of Dr. July has advocated for his removal from the CIU website, my straight dog family. He mixed no matters with these words, my straight dog family. He did not mince his words, I should say.
Come to an end. He should not have been given any passport to sell by making movies. Let him come and develop St. Kitts. Let him go and build a hotel. Let him go and build a prison. Let him go and build a school. And that is what we are reaping today. A mistake that was made some years ago. And a man who come back to this country, who knows nothing about this country, want to come and rip us off and put us in a bad situation with the outer world. All right. That can't be happening. That can't happen. And the government must stand firm. The government must stand firm and make a firm decision as to what they're going to do with this gentleman. His project must be removed from the CIU website. You can't want to kill us, but still want to make money from us. We don't want his movie. He's trying to destroy us. And I'm calling on the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to stand up and stand out and make a firm decision in the best interest of the people of St. Catherine.
Yes, my Straight Talk family. Remove is the word. Emphasize. He said, gentlemen. He was kind. He meant Philippe Martinez, the convicted fraudster. But reviewing the content of the SRO I referred to earlier, however, the Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin must tell the country if there is any provision in those regulations to revoke the appointment of Philippe Martinez of MSR Media Limited. And my Straight Talk family, please do not buy this talk about patrimony. It's nonsense talk. Because the concept of our passport being the patrimony of the people of St. Kitts Nevis only reflects a philosophical and not illegal interpretation of what a passport represents. As a matter of fact, if you examine the penultimate page in your passport, you will find some notes written in some very, very fine print. At your leisure, pick up your passport and just read note number 2. That states, and I quote, "This passport remains the property of the government of St. Christopher and Nevis and may be withdrawn at any time." So please, my Straight Talk family, do not accept this nonsense talk about patrimony. It is nothing but political hogwash. Legally, a passport is the property of the issuing government, not the individual citizen who holds it. Finally, my Straight Talk family, I ask a few questions. Why is Caribbean Galaxy the only developer targeted? Why not the others? Why just Galaxy? From August 2022 to present, how much revenue in fees has been collected? Why did Philippe Martinez, or why was Philippe Martinez, I should say, given more shares under Prime Minister July? And what is the value of the movies? Why is Philippe Martinez allowed to put our corresponding banking arrangement into jeopardy? Who collected over $500 million in fees in 2023? And where did those fees come from? Did those fees come from the prison project? And who collected those fees? Prime Minister July. So we ask him tonight, my Straight Talk family, where is the CBI money, Dr. July? And that's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. When I do so, and I'll do so momentarily, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And my Straight Talk family, in the things you say and do, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. It's 3 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour, and we go to the lines and say good night to this, our first caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liburd. The quotation for this evening.
Good night, my dear.
Honesty has a power that very few people can handle. I repeat, honesty has a power that very few people can handle. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Honesty has a power that very few people can handle. Whoa. Some words. Some words. My Straight Talk family. I go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Patrick, good night.
Good night, my dear brother, the Bible man. How art thou tonight?
I am fine. I can't talk too long, eh?
Uh-huh.
I am going to tell you. I have thing in my house. So I could watch you on TV. I just catch you on TV.
You got your big screen? You're on your big screen?
Yeah, I got the big screen.
Okay, my brother.
Yeah. You understand what I'm telling you?
Yes, I'm listening. What's on your mind?
I have internet in my house.
Okay. Well, you know.
Well, I got to watch you up to today. I watch you on my TV.
Okay.
And the job.
Okay.
But I believe this tonight is gonna come on either tomorrow or sometime this week. No, but he that Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High
shall abide
under the shadow of the Almighty.
Mm-hmm.
I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge, my fortress, in God will I trust.
Yes.
Surely He shall deliver me from the snares of the fowler and from the noise of the pestilence. He shall cover me with His feathers, under His wings thou trust. His truth shall be my shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day. That is, I am so glad that I have internet who watch you and sit down and listen to you and see everything what you say and the way. Now, one thing I want to ask you. Now, the situation is it? I cannot get to you and the WhatsApp number. The WhatsApp number. I put it on my phone, but I can't get you at in New York. I don't know what's going down. So work on that for me, please, because the situation is it that sometimes I just forgot to put money on my phone. So work on that for me, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick.
Okay.
Have a pleasant night.
Have a pleasant night as well, my dear brother. The Bible man, we call him John J. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. It's 9:02, my Straight Talk family. You may have just joined me. Our thesis tonight, we are looking at, we are discussing, I have titled my Straight Talk family, Where is the CBI money, Dr. July? And in the event you have just joined me, I provided a synopsis and I also made the point that our CBI program is one of the hottest debated issues and has been this way for a long time, several months now. And we have a convicted felon who means nothing whatsoever to this country. But he wants to hurt its people. He wants to damage us, damage our foreign direct investment. And yes, the CBI program provides our foreign direct investment. And my Straight Talk family, I made the point as well that it is obvious that our leader and prime minister never understood foreign direct investment and its importance to the development of our economy and the country. And he never took time to understand how the country generates hundreds of millions of non-tax revenues, my Straight Talk family. And they seem to have targeted this one particular company called Caribbean Galaxy, which through its investment has put millions of dollars into the consolidated fund or into our treasury. But there seemed to be a targeted attack on this company for reasons unknown to me. There are two lawsuits that have been brought by this convicted French felon, Philippe Martinez. And it is quite clear, very clear, that the objective is to blackmail Caribbean Galaxy. But I'll place on record one more time. If I had to make a choice between Caribbean Galaxy and MSR Media Nevis Limited, I would run far from MSR Media Limited, my Straight Talk family, whose owner, Philippe Martinez, is a convicted scamp, we say in local language. But he has some support. He has some support, according to Douglas, inside and outside of the government, my Straight Talk family. And I told you before, he's been advised by former Minister Gada, we call him Gada, my Straight Talk family, who is well known to have dealt with criminals, or a particular criminal who is now sitting in a federal prison in the United States of America. But this convicted fraudster, my Straight Talk family, has no money, does not even pay his staff. And one of his managers has taken him to court, my Straight Talk family. One of his managers have taken him to court, my Straight Talk family. And that cannot be good. That cannot be good, my Straight Talk family. But let's go back to the lines in the meantime and say, caller, you're live. Hello, caller? Are you there, caller?
Greetings and love.
Greetings, my brother.
Eternal love and honor, blessed night to your brother Patias, and blessed night to your listeners via YouTube and Facebook, or we call Facebook. Blessed love. I just listen to your program and I just insist I will ask you a general question because you make a statement just relevantly just a while ago pertaining that if you have to choose between those two thieving companies that we see now exploiting things and its economical turnaround, and I am fair to say so because it's true. Because why I say so, I heard that same Prime Minister make some statement in a campaign trail. So I will release this year now that I would like to know why will it that you put your emphasis on that indication of Caribbean Galaxy than MSR? Why? I asking you that question. Why?
Well, MSR has only delivered 2 lawsuits, as I mentioned earlier, and he has not provided any benefits to the country, none whatsoever. He should have employed, according to the agreement, 150 workers. The hotel is closed. Meantime, on the other hand, Caribbean Galaxy has, through its investment option, provided over $600 million in fees on their project that's in the government treasury. And that's how the government runs.
And you're supporting on the grounds of that?
Yes, sir. Every day.
Don't call me no slave. Me no slave. Please don't call me no slave, please.
Yes, Rasta.
I'm not a slave.
Yes, Rasta.
Yeah, I'm not a slave.
Yes, Rasta. I'm sorry.
Blessed Lord. No, I just thankful. I just like to give an indication because the second Prime Minister made some evidence against Lindsey Grant at the time when he was moving for the leadership within PAM. And he stated about some land Lindsey Grant went over Marriott or wherever, which one of them hotel over there, and was indicating to sell these land and was looking at a percentage to go into his after account. Well, then same land where the second Prime Minister stayed, at the same land he gave to them people there from Caribbean Galaxy, where he was a member of that board. That's conflict of interest, and I see that they're being hypocritical at this time.
Member of which board? Sorry, member.
He's a member. He's a member of the Galaxy board. You know that Denzel Llewellyn Douglas is a member of that board out there. And I could tell you that because I seen it from myself with him being in where the border patches, where the border patches for it because
hello.
Second thing like.
Yeah, but be careful. I'm saying to you, no, but but I can't establish that what you're saying is truth because it's a private company. We don't have access to the membership of his board. We don't know if it's run by a board. So I'll have difficulty really accepting that. That's my vantage point.
But the fact is,
it's not a public company.
I see for myself that's why I could say it because
what you saw for yourself. I don't understand what you saw.
Douglas was sitting in that same office out they were called Galaxy Estate, where it's outside and present.
Yeah, but if he sits in the office, that doesn't necessarily fall. No, please. Ras Ayon, I respect you a lot, but if a man sits in an office, it doesn't necessarily follow he's on some board. Because there's nobody who would know the content or the composition of any board, of any private company. It's a private company. So unless you are part of the company, then, if you tell me that Ras Ayon is part of the company and he sits on a board, I'll take it with a grain of salt.
Anyway, you could cover for them politics on here because all of them are cooks and liars. And I mean,
okay, but you understand what I'm saying?
Respect to you. Mm-hmm. Respect to you because you're only going from what you got to clear. But the truth will reveal.
Okay.
Because them cooks have to go with the guy with the dirty deal under the table. And all them politicians are covering them things, they need to be in jail too. You have a blessed night.
Okay, my dear brother. Thank you for your input. And that's what Straight Talk is all about. And again, why I would have selected or chose or provided my support, whichever what you want to use, is that when you make comparisons with the performance of the companies, Ramada Hotel, look at your screen. That is the first phase of the project. The galaxy, Caribbean Galaxy, that is the first phase of the project, now operational and under the Ramada brand. But let's go back to the lines and call your line. Hello, caller.
Good night, Patches.
Good night, my brother.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Okay, I'm peaceful too. Good night, Brother Straight Talk, Brother Nabo, Maisie, and all who listen in this wonderful information program, Straight Talk. Ras Aya, good night. I can feel your pain with the load of wrong things that are going on in our country. I could hear your passion, and I have the same pain and passion with what is going on in my little St. Kitts Nevis. Now, Patches, let me go here with this man. He is convicted fraudster. This man who come now here to embarrass our country. Get the permission from this Sesame Street government to sell our passport when he knows nothing about St. Kitts. Look at his record. Convicted fraudster have our passport. The passport that belongs to St. Christopher Nevis. Selling them. God, and he knows how many vagabond scamps all over the world have our passport that they bought from him. Come down and get $150,000 US per month. I'm starting to be corrected, whether it's US or EC, but $150,000.
It's US.
Correct me,
it's US, yeah.
Yeah.
You're correct, yes.
Right. From the snake representative in Nevis, when he going to carry Nevisions to court over some election gimmicks that went on, carrying the own Nevis people to court for election money, election case, but then going to take up the $150 from the Nevis people that's supposed to finish the hospital in Nevis and other things in Nevis that needs to be done, and give it to the fraudster to buy OTI. And now OTI up there is on the lock and keys, lights cut off, power cut off, and all that was done by this Mickey Mouse government. What happened to the leader? He wearing wooden spectacles that he cannot see. It's because he don't have no respect for the voters in this country. And he doing all of that because there is no one in St. Kitts would stop talk and demonstrate with foot on the sidewalk and the asphalt to hold them account for the nonsense what they're doing to this country. No respect. After 2 years in office, they've been allowed to do all the maldow with them, travel from plane every minute, and make promises on the radio. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to build the Bastard High School. We're going to fix, we're going to make the museum at Mr. Bratcher's house. Nothing is being done. All kind of promises, big talks. We're going to give the people them, we're going to kill the pop and call it a different name. We're going to take away 500 and we're going to give them 15. Nothing tall also. When we're going to put a stop into this man, all of them they need to put in a barrel and close the barrel and let them hear the sound of the Salvation Army bass drum. When you hit the Salvation Army bass drum, you hear the echo sound. Boom! Put them in a barrel and let them hear the sound. And clean up our country. Patches, I will come back where other people want to get in. And I don't want to block them. So I will come back, brother. I'll continue to listen so long.
Thank you very much, my Stray Dog family. Let's go back to the... Okay, I seem to have lost the caller. But let's take this email in the meantime. I seem to be having some difficulty with that overseas line. I'm learning. But let's take this local call. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Hello, yes?
Yes, you're live. You have... Are you there?
Good day, Mr. Liburd.
Yes, good evening.
Yes.
You have your...
Good evening. Good.
I'm sorry, you have your equipment on or something? Or,
I am moving away from it, and my phone is acting up, so I hope that the reception is better. Hello?
Yes, it's good. I want the whole
yes,
world.
I can go ahead.
I always want the world to hear you. Whole world.
Thank you. Yes, good evening. Again. A couple of things. One, I'm listening to your program, and I've had the chance to look at some of these clips with the good gentleman that you're speaking about. And I'm wondering why we still have this gentleman being an agent of our Citizenship by Investment program. In looking at this photograph of him, it reminded me over the years of the photo I've seen of Al Capone. Kind of rotund, the round face, and the sort of full bulging eyes. The Chicago notorious mobster. It's just interesting that this gentleman has a similar resemblance. But certainly from a practical point of view, I think it is that we might have been naive if there's no way that the regulations governing all of this citizen by investment program selling, that you cannot revoke somebody who is trying to destroy the economic base of our country in terms of like the bank, national bank, etc. So that's one. The second thing, though, my senior pastor said some time ago, God sometimes allows bad things to happen so that good things can be achieved. And I can see it in this particular instance because of what is coming out. Now, I think we have to go through this. It's going to be a sort of a trying period for us, challenge, but we need to come out of this at some point. You spoke about the patrimony of our country and that it is a sort of a farce. I'm surprised at hearing you say that. The definition of patrimony is a property inherited from one's father or ancestor. Property inherited from one's father or ancestor. Now, it is true that the passport itself is the property of the government, and you were talking about the fact that the money coming in is not a government money or what have you, something to that effect.
I said the property.
What you're selling, hello?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I said the passport will remain the property of the government.
Yes, but it is the property of the government.
And it will remain and can be withdrawn. So
yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, but the property is really a manifestation of your citizenship. They get the citizenship, and then from that they get the passport. And so to say that the patrimony is a farce, when the government is selling these shares, whichever government is selling these shares, and they're getting funds for it, you are selling the citizenship of the country, and it has a lot of implications, which is why we have this problem we have now. I think there's a lack of acceptance by our government officials all through this, several years, in accepting what they're doing. And so even the point that you were making about, if you have a product on the market, you might have to sell it for to whom or the person can give you the best price. That is exactly the problem you can't do. You're selling the citizenship of the country. 51,000, now we hear that 52,000 passports have been sold. That is the problem, which is why we have the problem. There's a lack of acceptance and recognition of the value of what you're doing, or in the case, the depreciation of the value of what the government has been doing. And so we have to pull through this at some point, but we have to suffer first.
But
I think that's it. Yes.
I take a point and some very interesting points, but you're familiar with the regulations, right? And the regulation speaks to fees. The only thing that the government is due is fees.
Well, whatever it is, because it has to do with what is written up. That's why I said we are naive, because we might be even so naive that we can't get this man taken off.
we have been naive in how we have set this up. And the other part to this is that even the money that are coming, that is why the IMF could say or could recommend that the money should have gone into a sovereign wealth fund that is a state-owned. But when they hear it's a private fund, and the other thing you're saying, that these people got the thing and then the government doesn't have to pay anything for it, and afterwards, that's fast. That is lack of reality, because at the point of it, you are selling the sovereignty of the country. You're selling the patrimony of the country. And so whether you get just 2 cents for it or 3 cents for it, that's the problem. And because this money was coming in, and all of, we said the love of money is the root of all evil. This lot of millions of dollars, other countries, and just this is the final point I'll make on this. When you have countries like Ghana and Kenya a few months ago, these are countries with together nearly 100 million people. They had to go to the IMF for a little $30 million here and $50 million here. And the IMF had to put them through all sorts of, angst, if I can put it that way. And here's 51,000 countries, state of St. Kitts and Nevis, getting millions and billions, and we don't understand. We cannot accept why the international community would be looking at this. That is, again, a lack of acceptance or recognition of what we have been doing. And so I am glad, in a way, that this has been brought to light and exposed to shake us up, and let us see how we get through this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your intervention. And just to clarify the point that you made, you made the point, number one, about removal. And I asked the question because I looked at the SRNO, and I asked the question to the Attorney General, and he ought to tell the country, because there's no provision that I have seen in that SRNO 33, I think it is, to revoke the appointment of Philippe Martinez. You made some points, and that's what Straight Talk is all about. Discussion. Everyone is entitled to his or her view. And my view is that the concept of our passport being the patrimony of the people of St. Kitts Nevis only reflects, because you started to talk about patrimony and land and so on, right? And I'm saying that the concept of our passport being the patrimony of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis only reflects a philosophical and not illegal interpretation of what a passport represents. And again, pick up your passport, look at the penultimate page in the passport. Some very, very fine print. Read it at your leisure. Read note 2, which states, and I quote, "This passport remains the property of the government of St. Christopher and Nevis and may be withdrawn at any time." And only citizens can get passports, and the government can withdraw its property from a citizen at any time. And that's very clear. But yes, we like your view, we entertain your view, we accept your view, respect your view rather, but not necessarily accept it. So legally, a passport is the property of the issuing government, not the individual citizen who holds it. And that's my view. But getting back to the question of Galaxy and the passports and what have you. First of all, perhaps I should dispense of some of the emails, my Straight Talk family, because it's 9:27. And this email reads, "Patches, have you noticed that Woosie Rollins, the Prime Minister's security advisor, has been conspicuously absent lately? There's been talk that Dr. July, his boss, has instructed him to keep in the background because he's been creating too much trouble. Rumor has it that Woosie's questionable advice to criminals to buy a plane ticket and leave the island didn't sit well with some in high places. Could it be that his reckless counsel finally caught up with him forcing the Prime Minister to sideline him quietly. It seems like Dr. July might be trying to distance himself from the chaos, beg your pardon, which he stirred up, hoping the public won't notice. And this other email reads, Patches, this is the second anniversary of the Labour Party being in office, and Mr. July takes a personal leave. That says a lot. July knows he's been a total failure and a waste of time. That's why July ran out of the country. There's nothing to celebrate, reads this email. Patches, I heard your clip tonight, and that cannot be the son of legal luminary Mr. Charles Wilkin. Mr. Wilkin would have never spoken like that and would have never suffered that kind of embarrassment before the court. On top of that, he's focusing on what people are saying on social media and confirmed in passing that the juror was shot and killed. Patches, the Attorney General just mentioned the juror was shot and killed casually like that. That was only in St. Christopher moment indeed. That was an only, beg your pardon, that was an only in St. Christopher moment indeed. He wants to abuse people so much that he can't be serious and professional enough to address something as horrific as a juror being shot and killed. He just wants to abuse people who talking on social media, reads this other email. You killing me, it sweet me so tail. I want after 2 weeks you send a message to say you think he needs 2 more weeks. It sweet me all in me side, is this other email. Blessed love, Mr. Straight Talk. The last episode entitled Blood of 9 years old or 9-year-old on somebody's hand. It was very interesting. And you really touch on some good points. What is happening in our own federation. And first thing, why Prime Minister left the country on an emergency leave? You could imagine, in all this crime and violence, what's happening in our country, it really gives me a different look about him. He doesn't care about the people and acting about he's a key leader. He's not. You run away from your own responsibility and expect it going to fix when you come back. Hell no. People need to hit the streets in a protest march. When he comes back, he has to see that we are fed up with the lack of responsibility leadership, and we have enough of you, and you are not a good leader to make the country move forward. But instead jump on a plane and run away out of the country. But Mr. Straight Talk, I am looking forward tonight again with more facts about this no-good July administration. Worthless government, still knockabout people, and I will tune in listening. Where is the CBI money, Dr. July? Read this email. Says this email. It's almost 2 months now that my mom went to her doctor for her annual physical. The doctor sent her to do some blood works which includes urine tests. She chose to do the test at the lab at the JNF hospital. At JNF, they took her blood, then told her that the person who was supposed to do the urine test is not in. They gave her a small container and told her to go home, and she must not return unless she's called first to know if the person who's supposed to do the urine test is in. For 2 weeks straight, every morning at 7:30 a.m., we called the hospital to find out if my mother can bring the urine sample, and the operator put us on to the lab, but no one answers. The 3rd week, my mother visited the lab with urine sample and was hastily turned back and told that the person who's supposed to do the urine test hasn't returned and she shouldn't come back until she gets a call and someone tells her to come. Patches, I have tried everything possible to get a refund so I can go to a private lab, but they refuse to do any refund. My mother's health remains in a state of limbo as her doctor cannot get the true results that she already paid for. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patches, I'm here again.
Yes, sir.
Patches, I know you are an obedient child when you were growing up, and you're still obedient.
Sure.
But take my advice. If you, Patches, know you are involved in a murder, borrow some money from the bank, buy an airline ticket, and leave the island. Will you? No.
You said I'm obedient, so.
Yeah, right. I know you. No, according to advice, people does act. Now, who knows if who killed those two people down at Cranston Bay? He did not hear that. And recently we had another one in Nevis. So what I am saying is this: a lot of people are getting paid to do a job that they know nothing about. It could be some nonsense they're planning to bring in this country. They want to dictate for the courts, our high court in this country, when garbage Wilkin gonna say that a juror was shot to death. And I hear some talking out of his mouth that certain cases do not need jurors, like certain high court cases. He talking garbage. Any high court cases that need to be judged by the high court judge, they have to have jurors. No one man gonna pass the decision here, and nobody in this country. That is what they're planning to do, because they want to say, well then, okay, they bring in these former leaders of country in courts, and they're going to try them. We don't need the judge alone pass the decision so that they could do what they want. Well, I want to tell you, yeah, that will never happen. If it's one time petition will hit the street and put us against them and the law what they want to pass, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work, because we will get some Palestinian and Israel behavior down here. We ain't gonna stand for that. And now come to Mr. Gada. Why is it Gada like to associate himself with them criminals? Look what he did. Look more that thing from here, man. He coming through the phone. So, look what Mr. Gada did a couple years ago, Patrick. He defied the decision of the judge when he was Minister of National Security, when he went in 1840 and take out a criminal who already shoot people, kill Nego, and carry them over Frigate Bay between law-abiding citizens, decent citizens who paid big money to go to the gala to enjoy themselves. Now, if the criminal them who killed that same criminal one Sunday morning after he come out of a church service, shot him right there by the church. If they had known he was over Frigate Bay, only God and them knows what would have happened with other innocent people. So when Gada coming up and criticizing team unity and farmer administration and farmer prime ministers, let Gada look at what he did to this country. Now he can associate himself by giving that fraud to criminal information. That is, you have overnight so long. If any time there nobody wants to come in, I will come back in with another chip. I'll continue to listen.
Thank you very much, my Straight Dog family. And for those who are trying to get me on that overseas line, I can substitute 954 325 7170. Let's try that other number. 954 325 7170 to see if that particular line is functioning. Good night, Patches. Reads this other email. Shadwell is out of water since yesterday. I hope by tomorrow water will return to us as promised. Can't flush my toilet. That is the disgusting, unbearable situation. Had to buy water today for cooking and drinking. Bathing will have my straight dog family. Well, I've heard something, and we've had no confirmation from the Water Services Department, but I've been trying to confirm it, but we heard that there's some issues with Shadwell 1. We cannot confirm it, but like everything else, the government, the kind of transparency that they promote, my straight dog family, leaves a lot to be desired. But you may have joined me late, my straight dog family, and I do apologize for my overseas callers. I just don't know why my overseas line is down for whatever reason. And we can try, my straight dog family. 954 325 7170 for those in the diaspora who are trying to participate in the show. Again, we do apologize for that. This line has just gone down for whatever reason. It's not functional tonight at overseas line. Yes, but my straight talk family, I was saying that that caller we had, a very interesting call earlier about the removal of this fraudster from our Citizenship by Investment Unit's website, and move him because he has done nothing. He has provided no benefits for the country. His shares were increased and we don't know why. But we've heard this call for his removal, and we trust that July would take heed, my straight dog family. Okay, we seem to be having some little difficulty with that particular soundbite, and let's see what's happening with that soundbite. And that doesn't really augur well for us. But yes, my straight dog family, that caller made the point, and as I said, we looked at the SR and 033 of December 2022, and you would recognize that a lot of repealing was done of the regulations before. And I made the point earlier that when we look at the regulations, and I pointed to section 32, subsection 2, and it says that in an approved public good investor must, underline, must, by his, her, or its investment, bring substantial benefit to the people of St. Christopher and Nevis. And I stopped here at B. Didn't go any further. Maximize local employment. But he has hired no one because the property that he purportedly bought is closed. The property purportedly bought, it's closed, my straight dog family. It has a lock and chain on its gate. Like around to Fisherman's Wharf. It's in grass, my straight dog family. And I am submitting that the only benefit that Philippe Martinez has delivered to this country is to sue the Prime Minister, Dr. July. Is Dr. July blind? And as I said, when I made the comparison, my straight dog family, that when you look at what Caribbean Galaxy has delivered, Caribbean Galaxy has delivered this hotel valued over $300 million. $300 million. So Caribbean Galaxy's investment in public goods has to be considered as a positive step, because it has shown a long-term commitment to the rural community of St. Paul's and Newton Grong and Deep Bay and beyond. And it has demonstrated sustainable practices rather than just short-term or one-off investments, because it has gone on to a second phase of its hotel, my straight dog family. Beautiful scenery down there at Ramada. So when you make the comparison, it should not be hard, it should not be difficult to eliminate this fraudster, Philippe Martinez, my straight dog family. And my straight dog family, when you look at the fees that was collected by the July administration, if you did your calculations, this administration would have collected over $600 million from this one developer, Caribbean Galaxy, my straight dog family. So, why would that choice be difficult to make for me if I had to choose between this fraudster and a galaxy? That should not be difficult for anyone. But certainly I can only speak for myself, my straight dog family. And that is not a difficult choice for me to make. I reflected on how it works, and I tried to provide some insight into how the system works. Because my straight dog family, as I said before, we've been talking about building a new prison facility for over 20 years. It started with Lindsey Grant in 2004. As leader of PAM, that was a manifesto pledge way back in 2004 before the elections. There it is, my straight dog family. A commitment to build a new prison facility. Lindsey Grant and PAM did not tell us what will be the cost. Never. Note as well, my straight dog family, that our second Prime Minister Douglas, for years, spoke about building a prison prison to replace 1840. And 1840 that's referred to is the prison that was built over a century ago. To be exact, over 184 years ago, or 184 years ago. Forgive me, because my maths is my strongest weak point. And neither Grant did not say how much it would cost and where the money would come from. Douglas did not say how much his prison would cost and where the money would come from. But in came our third Prime Minister, Timothy Sylvester Harris. And with a stroke of creativity, introduced this project, or introduced the alternative investment option with this first project, a correctional facility, my Straight Talk family, not costing the Federation 1 cent. So my Straight Talk family, there is flexibility in the alternative investment option. And Team Unity and Team Harris demonstrated that. Now this administration is also continuing the regulations that they met, no matter how much they pretended they repealed it. Yes, they repealed it. And they put some things into it about legal amounts. But what is illegal? What did Caribbean Galaxy do that was illegal? Nothing. And the AG must say that, my Straight Talk family. Caribbean Galaxy, it's a company that's well placed, it seems. It has relationships with agents, in particular in China and the Middle East. And only through these agents, what they call sole conduits to sales. And they need commissions. We understand this is a very competitive region. My research has also informed me that the number of applications received by the CIU has plummeted considerably in the absence of Caribbean Galaxy that has gone to St. Lucia for the last 2 years. And Caribbean Galaxy, from my research as well, seems to be in a unique position as it relates to the CBI, because it has a network of agents in China and the Middle East. It also has the ability to fund the project without any loans. Not this convicted fraudster got into the CBI and wants a loan from the National Bank to help fund this project. The National Bank declined. And how did he react? Puts the National Bank, the largest homogeneous bank in the OECS, in his RICO lawsuit. What will that do to us, my Straight Talk family? What will that do to us when it comes to the corresponding banking arrangements? Is this someone we should be dealing with? Hell no, I say, my Straight Talk family. But you see, it goes back to the point, as I said in my introduction to my thesis, that Terence Michael July never took the time to understand the CBI. He never took the time to understand government, period, my Straight Talk family. Because when he came into office, he said he was challenged, and his greatest challenge was the CBI. But I submit, my Straight Talk family, that Terence Michael July, we have found out, and we all must have found out, incredibly early in his term, we must have listened to his absurd utterances, his silly statements. And that must have made it quite clear to all of us that he knew nothing about simple accounting facts. Remember when he started to talk about the country in the red, then he found some reserves? Worse yet, my Straight Talk family, he knew nothing about the fiscal management of the government that he now had to leave. He never understood foreign direct investment, or FDI, and its importance to the development of our economy and the country. He never took the time to understand how the country generates millions of dollars, my Straight Talk family, from the FDI. I'll take this and make this my final call for the night. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patches.
It's you.
Patches,
Yes,
let
sir.
me ask you a question. Now, you ever see Guinea bird and fowl together?
Long time I see a guinea bird.
Okay, well, anyway, the old people have a saying that say, birds of a feather flock together. Now, according to the information that we are gathering from you, Galaxy seems to be an established company, and honest company. They were doing good here in St. Kitts, and they're going to St. Lucia, and they're still doing good down there. But this convicted fraudster is selling our citizenships too. Why should this government, who will close adhesive with this convicted fraudster, and they lose Galaxy? Why? Everybody wants to be with the honest person. Nobody wants to be with a scamp. But the granny them say, birds of a feather flock together. This convicted fraudster, something needs to be done to him legally by law. Like my good villager friend Ashley said, he's not a citizen, and the government should get rid of him. Whatever association they have with him, cut it short, cut it off. This man here come here to mash up our country, embarrass our country, and he and Carleen, two former prime minister, want to take them to court, and all kind of thing. Like the lady said, bad things have to happen for us to benefit the good. Our country gone too far with this man here come here want to borrow money from National Bank. I don't know if he get any. But you see, you realize what happened over Christopher Harbour. All kind of scamps, blokes, people come in here and get money to borrow. So they come invest, and they come with empty hand, empty pocket, and get our money. Only in St. Christopher, Lord God Sang is a national anthem. We're sitting down too much here in this country and letting everybody come in our country and take advantage of us and our money. When will these things stop? When? Patches, you are doing your best. And I know that if you were in government still, a lot of these nonsense would not have been going on, because you would not sit down there and allow it to happen. You would have done opposite. because you're not the kind of person to suck up, watch face, and see corruption going on and keep still. And you got some idiot around in St. Kitts here. All they do, when they get on the platform, they criticize the farmer administration, the farmer prime minister, and they see wrong thing going on in this country and they would not condemn it. They would not. You got one of them there. I wouldn't even go down to go to he, because he's nothing else but solid waste product. But thank God for Patches and your program. Whenever you're ready to get the contribution, just let us know. Good night, brother. Welcome. Patches, I don't know what to say, brother. We got to do something with this government.
Okay.
They mash up the country, and the more time we give them, the more nonsense they're going to do. And people now getting accustomed to the knockout. So when they're ready to call election, like the one say he bought, the election can be bought, and that's what happened, they're going back on again, go give money, and they're going to forget the knockout that they're getting. So it's time to show them out the government, show them to hell out up there.
Okay.
Because they do not know how to run the country. You get foolish advice, and he refused none. That is why the country he cannot run.
Okay.
Yeah? Thank you, Patches. Good night. You have a good night.
Thank you as well for your intervention. Rumor has it, reads this email, that the Prime Minister flipping crazy rumor have it that he had an altercation with his wife, and the other day in cabinet, when under pressure, he cursed some bad words. Well, Patches, now he writes saying he need 2 more weeks. All the staff in the office of the Prime Minister chatting him because he walks around like a man on drugs. You ever heard about any Prime Minister going on personal leave? Especially when the country is in a mess. Rumor has it that he gone to see, what, a shrink? What's that? Patches Drew is incompetent and Douglas doing a good job in not giving him any advice. That's why he depending all the lovers of rum, uneducated, unethical, questionable advisors who are running down the country. Motto, look out the crazy man. Come, Motto, lock up the crazy man. People them. Have a good night, Patches, reads this email. Good night, Patches. I hope the one song minister will take note. I have no water to drink and cook, not to flush toilet and wash dishes and baths. So please look into this matter. I can't go on another day. The hurricane season is here. Read this email. And that's the way we're going to wrap with our emails and our calls, my Straight Talk family. For those who may have joined me belatedly, we look tonight at our thesis. Where is the CBI money, Dr. July? And we focus on the correctional facility, which is an issue that is being most talked about in St. Kitts and Nevis. Many refer to it as the prison project. But my Straight Talk family, this has derived 2 lawsuits brought by a convicted French fraudster, Philippe Martinez, in an obvious attempt to blackmail Caribbean Galaxy. And I said that if I had to make a choice between Caribbean Galaxy and MSR Media St. Kitts News Limited, I would run far from MSR Media Limited, whose owner, Philippe Martinez, cannot be repeated enough, is a convicted scamp, as we say in local parlance. He sells our citizenship, but he cannot qualify for citizenship himself Because as per the regulations, if he had to do the due diligence, his criminal record would debar him, prevent him from becoming a citizen. And yes, you ask the question, how did he get here? But remember, and someone made the point, the snake Mark Brantley was the one who gave him the introduction here with $150,000 US per month, over $400,000 from the Nevis Island Administration's treasury.
We have made it clear that yes, there is a financial arrangement with MSR. I believe the number is $150,000, if memory serves, 150,000 US dollars, that the NIA contributes. We have contributed that in term.
Yes, so $150,000, my Straight Talk family. So, he's now spread his wings to St. Kitts. He has an advisor and former Minister of Tourism who is familiar with criminals. The French camp bought OTI, but has no money to operate it, my Straight Talk family. So what? The OTI is closed. So when I decided if I had that choice, I will choose Galaxy. And here's why. When you compare the performance of Caribbean Galaxy, who opened phase 1 of the 300-room hotel in 2020, that is still being operated under the Ramada brand name on the western corridor of St. Kitts. And during the peak season, the Ramada Hotel employs over 150 workers on a full-time basis. And oh, what a scenic view from the Ramada of the neighboring island. Look at St. Eustatius there, my Straight Dog family. Meanwhile, phase 2 for 200 rooms is already under construction. So one would expect that if Prime Minister July led a progressive government, he would therefore ensure that the Minister of Tourism, Marshall Henderson, will be out there trying to get more flights into St. Kitts Nevis to accommodate this further expansion by Caribbean Galaxy. But we considered, my Straight Dog family, the controversial or most controversial issue of the moment, as I said, the correctional facility, referred to as the prison project. I heard no one saying that there is no need to replace that facility in Basseterre, which was built in 1840 to accommodate 60 prisoners. At one time housed 320 inmates, including those remanded pre-trial and confined to a cell with convicted prisoners. Some slept on bunks, others slept on blankets on the floor. Some had to get it on cool ground. Douglas spoke for years about construction of a prison. Grant, as leader 20 years ago, promised to build a new prison. None of them told us what it would cost and where the money would come from. But come 2021, my Straight Dog family, the third Prime Minister gets a correctional facility at no cost to we, the taxpayers. It was criticized. Lots of lies were told. Some said they didn't know. But if Shark or Sprat, how was it said, if Sprat come out the sea and says shark got so high, believes Pratt, because Jonel was in cabinet. And Jonel Powell said this, my Straight Talk family.
The prison is being built in terms of financing is similar to what we did with the Park Hyatt. A developer comes in, presents a project, and they are allocated X number of shares, which represent citizenships, which they can make available to the investors. The only difference is that with this particular project, when it is completed, it will be turned over to the government to manage and to operate as a prison, which means that the government did not have to find the money to build the prison.
As simple as that. Government didn't have to find a cent to build the prison. Caribbean Galaxy used their own monies up front. And obviously under the AIO, they will recover from their investment. Their only commitment or commitments is one, to pay the fees as per the regulations, and two, to deliver a finished product, a finished piece of infrastructure called a correctional facility to the government. So my Straight Talk family, the alternative investment option was intended to provide the country with two benefits: the completion of an asset that belonged to the country, and two, government fees which went straight into the consolidated fund, straight into the treasury, my Straight Talk family. So, as we wrap, some questions we asked earlier, we'll ask one more time, my Straight Talk family. Simple questions that needs answers. Where are the employers that were committed by Philippe Martinez? He promised to employ 150 workers. Where are they, my Straight Talk family? He provides no benefits. The only benefit he has delivered to date is to sue the Prime Minister, Dr. July. Many have advocated for his removal from the CIU website, like this strong labor man. I'm not getting this played. I don't know why. But many have advocated for his removal, my Straight Talk family. That has not happened for whatever reason. But reviewing the content of the SRO, the AG also needs to tell the country if there is any provision to revoke the appointment of Philippe Martinez. And if there's none, he must go to the parliament and make that amendment and get this fraudster to hell out of here, my Straight Talk family. I told you my views on the passport already. But finally, the question, my Straight Talk family, why is Caribbean Galaxy the only developer seem to be targeted? Why not the others? From August 2022 to present, how much revenue in fees has been collected from the only project that's been undertaken by Caribbean Galaxy? Why did Philippe Martinez, why was he given more shares under Prime Minister July? And what is the value of the movies? Why is Philippe Martinez allowed to put our corresponding banking arrangements in jeopardy, and nobody says anything? Who collected over $500 million in fees in 2023? You know the answer, Prime Minister July. Where is the CBI money, Dr. July? That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I will entertain you. I will thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, as always. I want to thank you, the many listeners. I want to thank those of you who called. I do apologize for my overseas Straight Talk family who they never have access. That line seems to have gave us some problems tonight, and I'm awfully. I do apologize rather for that. There are those of you who just listen. There are those who send emails. I just want to remind you that all of you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spear we will connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, when we connect again, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, my Straight Talk family, that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night.